Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
This guy was such a soul. What a beautiful soul. You know, the world only produces a few beautiful souls in every generation. This Hawaiian guy, Israel Kamakawiole, was one of the most beautiful people on earth. Beautiful guy. And the song, of course, is why I'm playing it. It's his version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. The great version was done by Judy Garland. The lyrics were written by a Jewish emigre just around the time of the Holocaust. And just imagine people trapped in Auschwitz staring at the smokestacks that were cooking their relatives alive and thinking about Somewhere Over the Rainbow. But without getting so maudlin or tragic, the fact of the matter is all of us dream about Somewhere Over the Rainbow every day, don't we? Now, why am I playing this today of all days? Because I can't take any more pain, and I cannot take any more speculation, and I cannot take any more murder, and I can't take any more Islamic terror, and I can't wake up one more day to another Islamic committing another murder. Yeah, I know we don't know if they did it. I get it. But there's enough of a track record related to radical Islam for me to say enough is enough and I can't take it anymore. How's that? There, I got it out of my system. What do you know? What do you say? The phone number is 855-407-282. 855-400-SAVAGE. I have a lot that's on my mind and on my heart that I want to share with you because I think that a lot of people are not so much grieving after Las Vegas as they are perplexed over the silence from the government after Las Vegas. Am I wrong about that? Now, let me backtrack for a minute. A lot of you know me and have come to love the show and trust my insights, my delivery. A lot of you think you know me and you hate me because you think you know my politics. Some of you never heard of me, but you're listening to me right now for the first time. Now, what does it matter what my politics are if my insights about current events make sense to you? So for one day, I'm going to ask all of you who are so on the edge with your viewpoints, I'm a liberal, so I think this way. I'm a conservative, so I think this way. And if anyone doesn't fit in this box, I reject them. Why don't you for one day try to listen to a voice on the radio on an issue that you can call about or anyone else, and if my analysis makes sense to you, why don't you not prejudge me? That's what I'm trying to say. All right, maybe it's a little too much for talk radio. I get it. So let me go on to the news of the day. I can do the two Harveys. That's always fun. That's a great topic today because Hurricane Harvey not too long ago hit Houston while Hurricane Weinstein was hitting on women. So that might be a topic, the two Harveys. But I don't know. We've already milked that. Everyone's making fun of poor Harvey. I mean, let's face it. What he allegedly did was so utterly unusual for Hollywood that it leaves me speechless. I mean, if what they allege is true, that he hit on young starlets who wanted to be in movies, I can't believe that actually would have happened, especially a guy as handsome as him, a guy with his charisma and beauty and such great skin. I don't understand how people could be shocked by this, but if you want to talk about that, don't call my show. What's more interesting to me is that this guy made the most vile movies the world has ever seen. Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Sin City. Every other scene is slashing, burning, shooting, hitting, bashing. And then he's the biggest liberal on the planet, going so far as to have been praised by Michelle Obama in 2013, where she called him a wonderful human being. Now, maybe it is possible to be a wonderful human being and produce vile movies that turn people into maniacs. It is certainly possible. That's number one. But we're going to play the soundbite because I'm sure Michelle Obama knew him in a different way than we do. I'm sure Michelle Obama knew him as the soft, cuddly guy from Flushing, New York, that most of us forgot Harvey Weinstein really is in the deep insides of his being. But she praised him as being a wonderful human being. And maybe she knows something we don't know because, after all, she did have her daughter Malia work for Harvey Weinstein as an intern. You forgot that already? Now, one late-night joke last night, by the way, about Weinstein. Isn't that odd? All the smart Alex, all the Knishes on television, all the Jimmy Snivels, Jimmy Snivel. What's his name, Jimmy Snivel? Hey, I gave him a nickname, Jimmy Snivel. That's a good one, Gong. Yeah, Jimmy Snibble, who can't shut his mouth for 2 minutes without bashing Trump, has nothing to say about a man accused of this kind of stuff. What did he have to say about Bill Cosby and Bill O'Reilly? Let's ask you that question. Don't answer me because I'm not interested. What do you think Trump was referring to when he said what is coming? Was that like a moment of confusion, a moment of mishigas, a moment of madness? Do you know what I'm even talking about? We'll get to the moment of the calm before the storm comment in a minute because I'm going to ask you, what the heck was the president talking about? Listen to this. Is a bizarre one. It's a hard one to hear because the sound was not good, but we've augmented it with the greatest engineering known to radio history. Listen to 01.
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm?
We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we'll have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
All right, so he gives a press conference with all of his military heads and their wives, and then he turns to the audience of reporters and says, "You guys know what this represents?" ? Pointing with his arms left, right to the military men. Porter says, "Tell us, sir." And Trump says, "Maybe it's the calm before the storm. We have the world's great military people." Reporter says, "What storm, Mr. President?" Trump says, "You'll find out." What do you think Trump was referring to when he said, "You'll find out"? You know what I'm saying? What was he talking about here? What do you mean, "you'll find out"? So he made a display of the great military leaders that we have, and then he said, "You'll find out about the calm before the storm." You can figure this one out, can't you? He's signaling something. What is he signaling? On the heels of the Las Vegas slaughter. It is connected to that, which came on the heels of the North Korea threat to wipe us off the map. Okay, which came on the heels of Iran this, which came on the heels of Syria that, which came on the heels of Russia there, you know what I'm saying? So what do you think Trump was saying when he said, "What is coming? You'll find out"? I mean, what, has he made a mistake? Or is he hinting, or he just has no ability to control his remarks? What do you know? What do you say? I got a great weekend ahead of me, so I'm going to try and cool it this weekend because it's Fleet Week here in San Francisco, which is a great tradition for a number of reasons, and not just that I love the Blue Angels. They represent the best and the brightest, but more than that, they represent everything that the psychotic liberals who can't do anything right hate. Why do you think liberals hate the men who can fly those flying machines? Answer: because they can't. Not one of them can do anything as great as that, which combines the skills of, let us say, every field known to mankind, from nuclear physics, electrical engineering, combat readiness, ballet, spatial recognition. That's what it takes to be a combat pilot to begin with. Now add that up and magnify by a certain factor, and you have the Blue Angels, the most skilled flyers in the world, which is why the liberals of San Francisco hate them so much, because they represent everything that the liberals in the gutters could never, ever dream of doing. I love it. So we got 3 days of the air shows. In fact, during this show today, you'll probably hear some rehearsals going on. They should be starting any minute. I'll open the windows in this radio studio, which is 300 feet in the air over San Francisco, over the bay. And I love seeing the planes streaking under the Golden Gate Bridge, etc. So that's one thing we're going to do. Sunday is the 149th, I believe, consecutive Columbus Day Parade in San Francisco, and it's one of the best in the country because the Italian community in San Francisco has not yet been bowed by the vermin on the left who've told them Columbus was a this, Columbus was a that. If it wasn't for Columbus, most of them would still be swinging from trees in the third world hellholes they came from. I don't want to hear anything more about Columbus. All I can tell you is this: when I go to the Columbus Day Parade and I sit outside an Italian restaurant with friends and family, and it's crowded with other people, other friends, other families, and they enjoy every float that goes by with the exception of the board of stinking supervisors. I once got up when one of the supervisors went by on a float, one of the most vile of all of them. He was a despicable man. Amongst despicables, he was the most deplorable of the despicables in the San Francisco area. He was a supervisor, a skinny wretch. So I was sitting at this outdoor restaurant, and the floats go by, and I'm drinking my wine. Everyone's having a drink. It's crowded. And this creep starts to waving like he's Caesar and hailing the crowds. There's nobody. So I went up to him with a wine glass full of white wine, and I said, "Sir, can I offer you a glass of hemlock?" Well, in those days, it was funny. Today, I would probably be hauled off and arrested for threatening a public figure. So I don't have the sense of humor I once had. But his face turned, it went from celebratory to the loss of face that the Asian people would understand. I don't intend to do that anymore. Those days are over for me. So we got the Columbus Day Parade. Then what? Let me think. No, there's another thing. Monday night, I'm one of the rare few invited aboard a naval warfare vessel, meaning a warship, down on one of the piers. I love those things. They have it's called the Admiral's Ball. You don't actually dance. It's a buffet with Navy shrimp, Navy food. It's actually quite good. It's really nice people who are members of the usually the Navy League and wives, and it's a great thing. But the most important part of that one for me is seeing the young kids in the Navy today and how seriously they take their job. In order to get on that ship, you've got to go through a cordon of security that is a labyrinth, left, right, left. And you see these 18-year-old girls with machine guns, and actually it inspires me to see it. That's all I can say to you. I don't know how to put it other than I've got a power-packed weekend coming up to try to erase some of the horrors of this week, which has to be the hardest week in the history of talk radio, and I'm glad that all of us survived it together. Again, what do you know? What do you say? Phone number is 855-400-SAVAGE. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Why am I playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow by this great Hawaiian singer, Israel Kamakawiole? And I have trouble with Hawaiian names, although I live there and I respect the language. I'm not trying to mock it. I don't know how to pronounce Hawaiian names. I think it means, his name actually transliterated means the fearless eye. He was a big, obese guy who was blind. He died very young. And his name was Brada Is. They're an amazing group of people, Hawaiian people. If you lived there and you got to know them at all, in any way, even as an outsider, you'd penetrate an indigenous culture that's hard to fathom unless you understand it. It's very easy to stereotype people and, make mockery of the people in many ways, as we do, as many people do. Hollywood certainly makes a mockery of minorities, even though they pretend they love them. You know that, and I know that. So someone just sent me, during one of the spoken snippets of Alone in His World, which was released after he died, the singer talks about the obesity that killed his brother Skippy, his father, his mother, and his sister. They were all obese. With an awareness that a similar fate would soon be his, he said, I know scared for myself for dying, he says, in the pidgin English that he also used to answer email from fans. If I went now, that's all right. I go set that table for you guys. Keep the stew hot. This is just one shell, he'd say, of the body that had to be forklifted onto stages. I only in here, temporary. Then on to the next place, Israel Kamakawiole. You can learn a lot from people who see through the other side. That's all I can say to you. Obesity. As an anthropologist when I was young, we asked questions. Why were so many Hawaiian people indigenous? Well, okay, Tongans are very large. Hawaiians range in all sizes, but some of them are enormously large. And there was an answer. It was a very interesting answer, which is that these Pacific Islanders are renowned for long passages in open seas in virtual outrigger canoes type of vessels, meaning they could traverse thousands of miles in an open boat without an engine, navigating by the stars. But they were exposed to the elements for weeks at a time, and the bigger ones with more adipose tissue survived more so than did those with less adipose tissue. So fat tissue became a survival advantage for the Pacific Island people who were very, very large. Now, this is not to say that only large people survive, because I have met very small, wizened Hawaiian people, as I have met in Tonga. They were the sages of the community. I'm not kidding you. The little guys, the skinny little guys, you would think they would have pummeled them. They didn't. They looked up to them. they were usually the seers, the visionaries, the thinkers of the tribe, of the group, of the community. It's very interesting when you study anthropology, you look into these things. And I'm just talking about these things. It's sort of like rapping about reality. I didn't mean to get pulled into this, but it's certainly more interesting than talking about Harvey Weinstein's acne or Donald Trump's hackneys. I just can't tell you. There's enough of everything. I mean, from hackney to acne is quite enough in one day. That's not a bad one. Hit the symbol on that one. I finally hit a high note in the Savage Nation. All right, Jacob, KSFO, you're first up. What's on your mind? I'm doing unscreened calls for a while. What's on your mind, Jacob?
I just want to say, you asked if we knew who Israel was. I do. That song is beautiful. And it just takes me back to when my first child passed away.
Oh.
Listen to that song for...
Oh, God, don't do this now. I am emotionally on the edge right now. I can't go there. The pain you have from that loss of your child is the greatest pain a human being can ever feel.
It is. And actually, I think it happened because God wanted us to love our second child even more. And I look at her every day, Esther. And I just think if our first child didn't pass away, who's with the Lord now, that we probably wouldn't love her as much as we do now.
Well, you're going to get me started now on a path I didn't intend to go down, but I have said numerous times that when my brother, who was younger than me by 2 years, was born, as he was born, unable to see, unable to hear, and crippled, and died, well, a horrible death, I said many times that my brother Jerry died for my sins. And people said, what are you talking about? I said, my brother Jerry was the Jesus of my family. He was crucified by God that I might live a double life. Does that make sense to you, Jacob?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE.
It's a great day to be alive. I got to tell you, you see a tragedy like this over the week of what we just lived through, all of us. And you got to say, I mean, where's it coming from next? We don't know who did it still. And the government either knows and isn't telling us or doesn't know anything. Maybe they know nothing. Maybe there is no cover-up. Maybe no one knows. So, my assistant was just going out, asking me what I want for lunch here in the radio studio. And I said, hey, I ate last night's leftovers, which is squinting pasta. You cannot put pasta around me and expect it to last very long. And I said, no, thanks. I've already eaten, Ryan. My ankles are swollen and my fingers are stiff. I've had a great lunch. In other words, I've had my lunch. The ankles are swollen and the fingers don't move. So I had a wonderful lunch. I don't need a salad. Thank you very much. We have an unscreened morning on the Savage Nation. What do you think Trump was referring to about what is coming? Da-da-da-da-da. I'm reluctant to play the Harvey Weinstein violent movie, but let's play the Harvey Weinstein Pulp Fiction where they shoot Marvin in the face, just to show you the kind of nice, sweet movies that this kind, sweet human being has made over the years. And you'll understand the hilarity of all of the homilies that are coming out of the mouths of all the big libs who attack a conservative for as much as sneezing. Here's clip, Pulp Fiction, shot Marvin in the face, John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, two superb liberal human beings. Let's hear it.
Marvin, what do you make of all this?
Man, I don't even have an opinion.
Well, you gotta have an opinion. I mean, do you think that God came down from heaven and stopped... Oh, happening? Oh, man. Oh, man, I shot Marvin in the face.
Why the did you do that?
Well, I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident.
Hey,
oh, man, I see some crazy in my time, but this...
Chill out, man. I told you it was an accident. You went over a bump or something.
Hey, the car ain't hit no bump.
Hey, look, man, I didn't mean to shoot the she going off. I don't know why.
Well, look at this mess, man. We're on a city street in broad daylight here.
Believe it, man.
Well, believe it now, mother.
I want to start by thanking Harvey Weinstein for organizing this amazing
I apologize.
Harvey, this is possible because of Harvey. He is a wonderful human being, a good friend, and just a powerhouse.
Thank you, Mrs. Obama. I'm sure he is a wonderful human being behind the scenes, and he's done so much for the mind of America and the world. That's the important thing to know. is that the sewer pipe of Hollywood, as I have affectionately referred to it, which has made people richer than kings of past, the sewer pipe of Hollywood has made people from the gutters of Flushing, New York, richer than most kings, and they have poisoned the mind of most of the world with the kind of imagery that is put out there, gun violence, knife violence, hitting people with axes. And when they're off the screen, every one of their causes is another one of these saccharine, like charities. What can I say to you? But maybe Mrs. Obama didn't see that side of him. Maybe she never watched Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill or Sin City. And it could be she only saw the gentle side of Harvey Weinstein. There are several different sides to men of that magnitude. In fact, she probably so much believes in what she said about him being a wonderful human being that she sent her lovely daughter Malia to work for him as an assistant. So we have to assume that Mrs. Obama was sincere when she said that Harvey Weinstein was a wonderful human being. There's no reason to doubt her on this. All right, that's all. All right, so I did that. I got that out of my... Now, I don't know. You want me to do politics, political? I don't know. I'm not in the mood. I saw Bill O'Reilly did a speech in Baltimore to it says to thousands of empty seats in Baltimore. New York Daily News David Zarawick said Bill O'Reilly's Spin Stops Here tour stopped in Baltimore on Friday, and the former host played to thousands of empty seats at Royal Farms Arena. My, how far the powerful have fallen. The shrinking of Bill O'Reilly. So it was shocking. They were giving away seats. They were moving people up from the peanut gallery up to the front. What's the point? Well, the point is this. Let me put it in a delicate manner. My, how far the powerful have fallen, number one. And as I said to you, one of my favorite books from years ago was by a Chinese-American author named Lin Yutang. And he wrote this book in the 50s or 60s called The Importance of Living, wherein he said, happiness consists not in the fancy flights of poets, but in having your hair cut every 2 weeks and in watching your neighbor fall off the roof. So, I mean, to me, that's your neighbor falling off the roof. We all take pleasure in our competitors failing. I mean, isn't it true? There are people, dozens of people in the media who are jealous of me who would love to see me fail. And they put every impediment known to mankind in my way. And thus far, I've been lucky. But the day will come that I will trip and fall. I know it's going to happen. I'm like the great Santini on a high wire every day. And every day I've got to climb up this long tower and walk on this tightrope with no net below me. And it's inevitable that one day, the great Santini is going to slip and fall off the high wire. But, it hasn't happened yet. So I'm going to keep laughing until it does. Welcome to the program. I guess that's tempting fate. This is really like doing a dance on a high wire between the Empire State Building and air. I mean, the wire is not even attached to another building. It's attached to one side of the Empire State Building. On the other side, it's an imaginary attachment. But it's what keeps me young. It keeps me happy inside. These are the best hours of my life. The best hours of my day are being on the radio. 3 hours a day, I fly like an eagle. The other 21 hours, I crawl like a worm, like everyone else on the planet. This is the highest high anyone could ever have. Ask anyone in the business. Ask anyone in any entertainment realm, and they will tell you the same thing. That although talk radio is put down as the, quote, bastard subchild of the entertainment industry, in terms of performance art, it's probably the most difficult because I do it without a script, and I can actually hear everything you say. I can actually answer your questions. I actually listen to you. I actually have my own answers in my own head on the moment. No one writes the scripts. Ask anyone who works for me. It's all done on the natch, and I'll tell you what it does for you. When the show is good and what's going right, you can feel it, and you float. You fly. You're elevated. You take off. And when it's not working right, you just feel it. You're lumping. Well, I'm usually up there. Today I'm very, very up there because we've all come through a very hard week. And I for one, need a little relaxation today. So let's see what's waiting for us in the caller base. We're doing something odd today, which I never do, which is I'm giving Jim a break so he can go cook barbecue in the back of the studio. That's his side business. He has a barbecue business. He's going to New Orleans, right, this weekend, Jim? Jim has a little barbecue business? Yeah, he's going to New Orleans to do a barbecue. All right, let's see what the callers have to say. Unscreen James, WABC Line 9. What's on your mind? Fire away.
Good afternoon. afternoon, Dr. Savage. You and I would normally never speak. We are diametrically opposed. I'm what you call a millennial liberal from New York. But I have to tell you, I find you to be extremely entertaining. I listen to you on purpose because you espouse viewpoints that do challenge mine. And sometimes you say things that have me staring at my radio and I think to myself, you're so on point and so correct and daring enough to speak about it that I can't stop listening to you.
So even though politically you're opposite, yep. you listen what, to make a mockery of me or what?
Oh, no. I listen to the radio shows here on WABC. I'm sure you're familiar with them, but I listen to you on purpose because you challenge me, because there are some times that I furiously disagree.
All right. Well, no, that's good. And thinking is very good. It's very rare in American society today. In an age of groupthink and what people think they're supposed to think or think what they're supposed to say, and in an age when the media constantly hammers you with what your thoughts are supposed to be, I think that when you listen to a free thinker like myself, it does cause people sort of a chain reaction to force you to say, I agree with him, I don't agree with him, who's he kidding, what's he doing, what is he doing this just to pull my leg, just to get a response, does he really mean it? I get all of that. See, I like this, Jim. You can go home and start barbecuing right now. We're doing no, I don't want to insult Jim. And we're doing unscreened calls, which sometimes, you know that I once, maybe in the last year, did Crazy Thursdays on this show, where I said, if you think you're crazy, please call the show. And I only allowed people who were borderline or over the line to call the program. I wanted nuts to call, in other words. It was a very, very refreshing show because every one of them, without exception, sounded like they voted for Hillary Clinton and worked for Bernie. What's his name? Bernie Schwartz? Bernie Shapiro? I forget his name. Honestly, I don't remember his name. Bernie something. Bernie Seltzer, man. I don't know his name. I'm drawing a what is Bernie's name? I'm supposed to know it. What is it, Jim? Bernie Sanders, sorry. When you say Bernie Sanders, it doesn't compute because Sanders is like the name of a guy with a white beard who sells chicken. I don't know how that relates to this guy. I mean, you know, Colonel Sanders put a chicken in every pot. Bernie Sanders would like to put pot in every chicken. So, you know, that's the connect doesn't really work for me. I got to tell you that right now. Let's go to the next dear caller on the Savage Nation. Vinny on WABC. All I'm saying is your name and your city and your station you're calling from. Vinny, WABC, New York. What's on your mind, Vinny?
Well, first of all, Bill O'Reilly could write a book called Killing Bill O'Reilly the way it's going for him.
Yeah, I know. That's my old joke. Remember I said that was my old joke from a year ago. But why do you think he's playing to well, anyway, that's not what you're calling about. Let's leave poor Bill alone.
Virgin, remember great Tim Russert, when he passed away, he had that song at his memorial he wanted. And it was an overcast day in Washington, and when that song played, the sun came out, and there was a rainbow. It was amazing.
Who was singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow at Russett's funeral?
Your Hawaiian friend. That version of that song was Israel was singing it. And
are you kidding me? He was at the funeral for Tim Russert, the garbage man?
He wasn't at the funeral. Tim Russert liked that song.
Oh, he played it on the loudspeakers.
They played
Israel. I didn't know everyone knew this guy. Israel Kamakawi Ole. Thank you, man. I didn't know that. Tim Russert was really smart because he was the son of a garbage man. And anyone who deals in garbage knows reality. That's why he was a good newsman. You know what? I'm not joking. The blue-collar guy knows reality. The cab driver, the truck driver, the plumber, the electrician, the cop. They're the people who actually know reality. It's the people in the studios with the suits. They don't really know what's going on. They don't know what you actually think. So, all right, so they make a lot of money. They put people on. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. They're not having any connection to the street in reality. And I think that I keep my connections to the real world as alive as I possibly can. I'm not like Mr. Natural who walks around in the gutter and asks everyone their opinion. But believe me, I do the best I can given the isolation of the business that I am in. WTMA in South Carolina. I got to get the old goggles out here so I don't hit the wrong button. Line 5, Alan, what's on your mind?
Alan, WTMA Charleston. You had octopus for lunch. I had a chicken salad sandwich from Zaxby's, and I am a taxi driver.
Wait. How did you know I had octopus? How did you know I had octopus for lunch?
You had squid. You said you did.
Oh, yes, I had squid pasta. No, it was, I'm sorry, I should have said squid ink pasta from last night. They make it with the squid ink. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I have. I've had it. Squid, pulpos with ink, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. This is black pasta. It's like a dark pasta because it's made with the ink of the squid, which is allegedly a natural male enhancer. And I didn't eat it for that reason. I like the flavor.
It's good. I had it
Yeah, well, I know in Louisiana it's probably popular with the hot food.
Yes, sir.
What's he laughing about? You want me to get started with my background in pharmacology? There are foods, and I don't want to go down this road. It's kind of juvenile, but there are foods which are male enhancers. Did you know that? I don't mean they make you taller. The thing is that they do work. You know, why do you think that the Italian people, particularly the Sicilian community, has long said that, shellfish is whatever. They crave it. Now, of course, today it's a different story because the toxic waters and all, and you don't want to overdose on the lead and the mercury that comes from the muck of the bay. But the fact of the matter is, the zinc is what it is in the shelled seafood that seems to go and do the trick for the old guys. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Back to the Savage Nation. Before we continue with the excellence that I have been giving you, I want to give you some solid career advice, and it's a good one because I've learned it when I was young. Dress for the job that you want, not the job you have. It's true because whether you're dressing for work or dressing to go out, people do look at the clothing that you wear, and it's why I wear and I recommend Charles Tyrwhitt. We all love quality clothes, but until now your options were brutal. It was either high quality, ridiculously overpriced shirts, or affordable out-of-style shirts that wrinkle the minute you put them on. CT shirts are the best shirts in my closet. They're British-styled. They use the softest fabrics. They're the most exquisitely crafted, crease-free shirts I've ever worn, tie or no tie, tucked or untucked. You're going to get compliments in a CT shirt. Now, look, I got you a great deal. One CT shirt normally costs $100. Right now, you'll get 3 shirts for just $99. That's 60% off. I feel like buying them right now. I'm so convincing. And CT shirts come with free delivery. That's right. What? How much? 3 for $99? You get a 6-month quality guarantee and free returns, $99 for 3 amazing CT shirts. But frankly, you do need to hurry. You go to ctshirts.com/savage, ctshirts.com/savage. Write it down. That's ctshirts.com/savage. How did this hour go by? What is it? Somewhere over the rainbow time? I mean, like the hour flew. What do you think Trump was referring to about what is coming? No one knows. And we talk about gun control. We got to talk about movie control, maybe? Was that not allowed? How about movie control? How about Weinstein control? I mean, we don't want to... Don't you think there should be some control on violence in movies? Yes or no? Why does Hollywood attack Trump and accept violent movies? I love all of the big libs out there, and I don't have to name them. Everyone likes to name the enemy and this and that. It's unnecessary right now. We got to stop the name calling, at least for a day. But the fact is that and I know that when you go to a violent movie, it doesn't really expunge you of violence. It actually provokes violence in you. You go and watch a horror movie. I hate horror movies. I don't watch them. There's 2 genres I never watch, horror movies and science fiction movies, for reasons I don't have to discuss. But I have seen in passing almost snuff movies that are made in Hollywood, where young people are on vacation in Brazil and then walking in the woods, or in Moldavia, and they get captured and put into a torture chamber, and it gets so graphic that I believe the filmmakers are not only mentally ill, but I believe that films like that should be banned from production because you got to understand, most people are sane out there, but not everyone is. And there are a lot of marginal people like Son of Sam. And when they hear a dog barking in the alleyway, they don't just hear a dog barking in the alleyway. They are triggered. You're telling me Weinstein's violent movies didn't trigger people? Can you prove that? Not anymore that I can prove that they did trigger people. But common sense would dictate that violence and pornography from Hollywood must be curtailed.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE. Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
Fleet Week in San Francisco, one of the great weekends of the year. The 149th consecutive Columbus Day parade in this great city with a great Italian community who has not yet knuckled under to the knuckleheads from Berkeley. It's a weekend that everyone loves here, except the haters. The haters don't love Columbus Day. The haters hate Fleet Week. The haters hate the military. And that is because they're all losers. And they're all jealous of a community that has given so much to this city, the Italian community, cuisine, culture, architecture, a sense of civility, a sense of pride, all the things lacking from the folks on the progressive side of the aisle. They've given nothing to the city but hatred and dissension, which is why I celebrate Fleet Week and cannot wait to go aboard the ship. I think it's the Essex this year, by invitation only. It's the Admiral's reception. I like the Navy shrimp. I don't go there for the food. It's not bad, but I like to see all the young men and women in uniform. It's phenomenal to actually, rub shoulders, so to speak, with the people who make these great war machines run. So that's Monday night. Then a parade Sunday. Tonight is Friday. Nothing on the schedule other than takeout food. A Saturday, Chinese food, the group. Saturday night's the takeout. No, Saturday night's a Chinese night, right? Chinese food planned. That's always fun, racing over the bridge and arguing with each other about which restaurant not to. Oh, God. Then there's no parking. It's horrible. I don't know why I still do the things. I don't have to live like this. I cannot change my lifestyle. There's the problem. You would think a man of my stature wouldn't be living like I did when I was 18, would you? But, I still do. I still drive myself to the Chinese restaurant. I drive around looking for parking and curse because I can't find any in Chinatown. Duh. But Uber's good. Uber's good. I was using Uber last week, and I loved it. I know, he discovered Uber. No, I've used it before. I found Uber to be very liberating. First of all, it's like cheap. I don't know how they do it. How does anyone make a living with that? The guys make 70%, the drivers, off the tab, let's say. Do you know what it cost me to go all the way from San Francisco to my home, which is over the bridge, whatever, like 16 miles away? It cost like $32, $29 one way. How is that possible? So let's say that it's $29, $30, and the guy gets 70% of $30. So what is he getting? $21 for that trip all the way out here, and he's doing a dry run back? You know what I found out from the Uber driver? He said, I don't know where the customer is going. The program is set up so we don't know where the customer is going till we pick you up and you're in the car. And then we hit the computer, because if we did, we could decide not to take you. So we wouldn't take a long haul like yours. But he was like a Chinese middle-aged guy who was very philosophical, who said, it all balances out in the long run. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Because it was late at night. I felt bad he was going to go back dry 16 miles back to San Francisco with nothing. I threw him a $20 tip, cash, not even on the credit card, because I'm a generous guy for workers. The fact of the matter is, I know what it's like to struggle for a living. I know what it's like to struggle as a busboy, a bellhop, a waiter. I was a driver. I've done it all. So I was a factory worker. And I think that it's something that you should keep with you the rest of your life. You don't disconnect from the reality of it, 855-407-282. I don't know. Trump talks of calm before storm. Is there anything we could... what is he implying? What was this cryptic saying? Maybe it's the calm before the storm. You'll find out. What was he talking about? Maybe the Iran deal he's going to throw away by next week? Maybe he's going to give Kimchi a little sock in the nose of some kind? Hey, where is Kimchi? Where did he stop threatening America all of a sudden? Maybe that guy with the weird haircut, who's a little rotund, who is totally psychotic, to keep threatening the United States and Japan and Australia. Maybe something happened because he shut his mouth. He dummied up. Where'd the guy go? Where'd this North Korean guy go? But what's a little creepy about it is he dummied up, and the next thing, Vegas happened. Now, okay, They didn't find bottles of kimchi strewn on the floor of Vegas. I get it. We don't know who did it. Everyone's saying this one did it, that one did it. You fill in the blank of the person of the group you hate the most. If you hate conservatives, you say they did it. If you hate liberals, you say they did it. If you hate North Korean food, but you like South Korean food, you say they did it. If you hate Syrian food, but you like Iranian food, you say the Syrians did it. If you're from West Hollywood, you say those from whatever. You get the picture. No one knows. KSFO, Al, line 1, what's on your mind? Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hey, Dr. Savage, how are you? Retired Marine Corps officer, live here in the Bay Area. Just an opinion question from you on, other than the money, what do you think the average San Franciscan thinks of this invasion by the military? Do you think...
Most San Franciscans love it. Most of the people who actually live here love Fleet Week. It is the invaders, and I don't mean illegal aliens, I mean the white people who have come from elsewhere, all of the psychopathic progressives who make believe they hate it because they're jealous of those who can fly those planes and steer those ships and those who have discipline and love their country. No, the majority of people love Fleet Week here, Al. Make no mistake about it. It's the few miscreants who don't.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that.
No, I know how it is. I know what the street level is all about. I never met anyone who didn't like it except some old sleepy poet who pretends he's a communist, but he has investments all over the world. Other than him, everyone loves Fleet Week.
Well,
thanks for the call. That's all. Next case. KBET Las Vegas. Joseph, what's your topic? What do you know? What do you say, Joseph?
I'm sorry, Doctor. I didn't.
Okay. Oh, now already I got thrown off already. What's on your mind, Joseph?
No, thank you very much, Doctor.
Oh, come on already with the doctor. I don't have a thermometer in my hand. What's on your mind?
I just thought I'd say, Harvey Weinstein there, I thought it might be possible until they said Ashley Judd was one of his accusers because I think she's a bit of a whack job. And then same with Bill O'Reilly and Eric Bolling and the guy from Fox, the owner, of Fox there.
Yeah, Roger Ailes. Okay, but how come Ailes lost his job, O'Reilly lost his job? They all lost their job, and Harvey suddenly has the entire Obama team saying he's a wonderful guy?
Well, because he's a liberal, perhaps. It's, got to stick up for the liberals.
What about Hollywood's loud silence on Harvey Weinstein's sexual harassment allegations? Why were there all the wise guys like that guy Knishel on television, Pischel? Jimmy Pischel. How come he had nothing to say to Big Mouth? Every other night he's attacking Trump. Every other night he's attacking a conservative. Every night he's crying. Every night he's attacking somebody who has a big mouth for everything except this guy. How come?
Because he's a liberal.
Oh, so that explains his hypocrisy. Okay. That's a twofer. Thank you.
I mean, I have nothing to... Hello?
No, it's okay. I don't want to milk this. Look, the story in the New York Times includes testimony from a wide variety of actresses, film executives, and film staffers close to old Harvey, many of whom accused the co-chairman of the Weinstein Company of predatory conduct. It says that, and I'm quoting now, Mr. Weinstein has reached at least 8 settlements with women, according to 2 company officials, blah, 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 speaking in condition of anonymity, reported the New York Times. Among the recipients were younger... I don't want to read it. It's salacious. Who cares? I mean, you don't think this goes on in Hollywood? You think it ended with Louis B. Mayer and the 8-year-old girls, allegedly? Do you remember that scene in The Godfather? That was a very telling scene, where the stage mother brings a little girl, and I mean, it was eerie and creepy, but apparently based upon reality. You don't know that, right? So Hollywood's known for being Sodom and Gomorrah. What's unusual about it? What's unusual about these accusations in this story? Well, one unusual aspect of it is that the media is extremely silent. But the big one to me, actually, when I think about it, is the liberals are now eating liberals. It's like they're eating their own. Why would the New York Times do this to one of the most prominent donors of leftist causes, like the Hollywood Causeway? Why? Why would they turn on him? And why all of a sudden on Harvey? I don't know, maybe bum someone out at the New York Times. I can't figure it out. But an even bigger story that I forgot to mention thus far, this is a hot one. Wait a minute, I got to find it on my website. Here, Plugsville, michaelsavage.com. I don't even think I got it up there. The ACLU was attempting to hold a conference or a seminar at a college about the First Amendment, and the communists, they're not communists really, the dangerous Maoists from Black Lives Matter broke into the ACLU's auditorium and stopped them from speaking. And what they chanted was alarming. They cut off the speech of the ACLU, and they screamed, "The First Amendment is white supremacy." I'm not making this up. Black Lives Matter has now gone full Mao. Black Lives Matter is now the Red Guard. And you idiots, you good millennial liberals who think you're supporting a good cause, you have to understand something. They will eat you alive if you empower them any further. This is not liberalism. They broke into a college where the ACLU, as I just said, I'll say it again until you get it through your head. Okay? ACLU was going to have a conference on the First Amendment. Maoist thugs from the Black Lives Matter terror organization broke up the meeting, and they said the First Amendment is white supremacy. And they said the Constitution will not protect you. Anyone who knows the history of the Red Guards under Mao Zedong understand what I am saying. And I don't really want to get too serious about it right now, but Black Lives Matter are the Red Guards of the United States of America. And you millennials should understand that right now you may be very happy that they're shouting down conservatives, and you'll ignore the fact that they shouted down the ACLU because it's not being reported any more than Weinstein's thing is being reported. They're covering it up. Black Lives Matter is now the most dangerous, thuggish group in the United States of America. And I stand by those words. They may be going after conservatives in general, but now they've gone after the ACLU. Who is next? Are you going to be silenced when you speak out? You know, when they came for the conservatives, you didn't raise your voice because you're not a conservative. When they came for the ACLU, you didn't raise your voice because you were not a member of the ACLU, nor did you give them money. And when the Black Lives Matter thugs come for you, there'll be no one left. Those who do not know their history are condemned to repeat their history, and I shall return.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. We have the song Stand By Your Man because I read that Harvey Weinstein's wife is standing by him and a lawsuit against the New York Times looms. But his very, very charming wife is apparently standing by her man. Nevertheless, several Democrats have distanced themselves from Harvey Weinstein. Did you hear this story? Just today, 6 more Senate Dems joined Vermont's Patrick Leahy in vowing to give away the campaign contributions they'd received from Weinstein over the years. It just shows you how loyal and what stand-up guys they are, right? What a great group of guys. Chuck Schumer is giving back the money to Weinstein. Kirsten Gillibrand giving back the money. Cory Booker of Jersey. Elizabeth Warren of Mass. They're all giving back money that Weinstein gave them. They're real stand-up people. Really solid human beings. And then did Weinstein make up a Jay-Z lyric? Play Stand By Your Man. I just want to hear it. Look, you got to admire the guy. Come on. You know, a lot of it's like jealousy. When a big guy falls, everyone's jealous of his success. They want to see him fall. Even liberal Democrats are glad he got it because if you didn't make it as big as he did. He's got big enemies, by the way. He made huge enemies. I can't name. Well, one of them is already named. Everyone knows Spielberg and he have been vying for years for Oscars. For example, director Steven Spielberg went up against Miramax and the Weinstein Company for Project and Oscars. And he refused to say anything about Weinstein while he was on the red carpet promoting a HBO documentary about his career, Spielberg. So he didn't want to say anything. He said, it's a subject I don't shy from, but it's not relevant to what we're discussing about Susan's movie today. I have a lot of opinions about that, but not for this event tonight. Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan famously lost out for Best Picture to Weinstein's Shakespeare in Love at the 1999 Academy Awards. So, you know, there's a lot of But the fact of the matter is, now Weinstein is saying he's going to sue the Times for up to $50 million, and he brought in attorneys, big attorneys. But what's even more ironic than anything is that he hired this Lisa Bloom. Here is a woman who's represented one woman after the other with one complaint after the other. Most of us think it's all crap and made up. It's just trying to make money. That's what most people think about it anyway that I've seen. Now she's on the other side representing the other side. It just shows you, right, what it means to be that kind of lawyer today. Reporters Jody Cantor and Megan Twohy spent 6 months to research the Weinstein story. And Weinstein says the editorial team only gave him 24 hours to respond. Harvey, you got more than I got when they try to slam me in certain newspapers. They didn't give me 24 seconds to respond, Harvey. And I didn't sue. The fact of the matter is, let it go, Harvey. You're making a big mistake. He shouldn't sue them. He should just let it drop. I got to say this. Weinstein denies the accusation leveled by actress Ashley Judd that kicks off the story, in which the Kiss the Girl star said she showed up to his hotel 20 years ago for a breakfast meeting to be greeted with talk of massages and watching him shower. Now, look, I haven't eaten lunch yet, but the thought of Harvey Weinstein giving me a massage or watching him shower is enough to kill my appetite for the rest of the year, I got to tell you. But all right, that's the way Hollywood works. But the thing is I think he's making a mistake. He should just drop the whole thing.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
And they were expensive. I mean, those pants were expensive. I didn't know what to do. I was afraid to go home because, I mean, we were poor. My mother bought me those pants. It was a lot of money. I go home, and the women are sitting around the kitchen table in Queens, moving crumbs around with a serrated knife, as they would in those days. They would chat about everything, and I was like a kid. You know, I'd listen in from the other room. Because I know by the time the women got through sorting through the crumbs, they sorted through the world's problems and their own personal problems. None of them needed tranquilizers or psychiatry. They needed each other and a cup of coffee and a conversation. So I come in with the ripped pants, as I was saying, when the song was playing in yesteryear time. And the pants are ripped in the knee. They're a day old. I don't know what to do. So I come in with the pants, shyly say, Mom, I got into a scuffle. I ripped the pants. They said, don't worry. We can have them woven. I didn't even know what woven was. The next thing they said, go up to your room, just take them off, change, whatever. And then they came back like a few days later. A tailor like weaved the rip in the pants. I wish I had those pants today, like Elvis pants in those days. I'm talking a long time ago. But in those days, tailors could weave pants if you ripped them. Now, people throw clothing away today, shoes. Who goes to a shoe repair store? In the third world, let's say, or in Chinatown, and I still see it in Chinatown, there are shoe repair stores where you like get a sole done. Even when I was young, we'd get shoes redone. I swear to God. Who toss them in the garbage today? Everything is so cheap, it's astounding, right? A new pair of shoes, buy them. Just a scuff on the car, throw it out and rent a new one. You know, it's crazy. It's a different throwaway world. Same with people, marriages, children, in-laws, everything thrown away. I don't know. When I look at this event last week, just from a guy who's been here a long time in the media, in America, it never happened in my day. I don't mean my day like I'm some ancient mariner here, but it never happened in America. When did this all change with the mass shootings? When did it start? All right, let's be honest. It started with the proliferation of guns. No question it's related. Please don't call me and tell me I'm wrong and now I'm a communist and you won't listen to me anymore. That's number one. I didn't say you should have gun control, but let's be clear. The proliferation of guns has led to this type of thing. That's one. Number two, the proliferation of prescriptions for SSRIs. No question it's increased the amount of violence and mass shootings in this country. So you want to start talking about gun control, talk about pill control, and talk about quack controllers at the same time. That's all. But what does Trump mean when he says that crazy statement? I don't know what he's talking about. I think he slipped when he said, you guys know what this represents. Play the soundbite, clip one again, Robert. I know it's hard to hear. He alludes to a calm before the storm after meeting with all our military leaders. What do you think he is talking about in clip one?
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we'll have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
What storm, Mr. President? You'll find out. So they just did some military planning for a strike somewhere. Now, you can pretty much guess what it is, but you don't know what it is. He's not going to give it away. You know, it's not like Geraldo Rivera during the Iraq War where he mapped out troop positions. Did he do that? I don't know. Did he mapped something out in the desert with the hand in the desert. Was it him? I don't even know. But there are others. They give away troop movements and where the military. Obama did it repeatedly. We're leaving here. We're pulling the troops out there. So the enemy waited. No, Trump's smarter than that. Must know. What does he know? What do you think he's tipping his hand? What is he doing? Mike online, line one. Just fire away. What do you think Trump was alluding to?
I think he has information already that ISIS was involved in the Vegas shooting. And like during the campaign, he always criticized Obama for always tipping his hand, and I think he's purposely keeping quiet, and he's going to attack him. I think if
okay, but let's say it's that he knows that it was ISIS related. Let's just create the scenario, and he was tipping his hand and saying they're going to get it. Tell me where he's going to strike them. Where are they?
I don't have the knowledge for that, but
no one does. Nobody does. What do you mean? Where is ISIS? Where is ISIS? What, they have a homeland somewhere? They've been kicked out of Mosul. They've been kicked out of the cities that they took over where they conducted industrial-level rapes never talked about by the feminists in America. Incidentally, the great feminists who care so much about women. I don't want to go, I hear the Hells Angels. I mean, the Blue. I mixed them up for a minute. You hear the planes? Can you hear it through the microphone? I just opened the window. Do you hear the roar? Oh, it's so beautiful. I got to open my windows. There they go. They're doing maneuvers now. They're flying. I'm at 30 stories up right now on the Savage Nation, and I hear the roar of the Blue Angels outside the radio studio. It is so stirring to be underneath those planes as they go by. Everything in me stirs. It's antithetical to everything San Francisco pretends to be and isn't. That's all I can say to you. But where is ISIS? I mean, like, what's he going to strike? A training camp? Where's the training camp? I don't know what you do. Where? How are you going to stop him? Where are you going to hit him? Where are they? I don't know what he means. I don't know what he means. He's going to strike him. Strike one, strike two. So, yeah, okay. Now, what are we talking about? KKOH Reno, Marge, line 3. What's on your mind? Fire away.
Hi, Savage. I listen to you quite often, and I know what it's like to listen to those Blue Angels. I used to live in San Francisco, and it's to hear you talk about it now, the Market Street and the different areas, was not that way when I was a kid. It was free. It was clean. It was a wonderful city, and I miss it so much. And I just want
look, the whole country was different back in the 1960s. If you look at stock footage of New York or San Francisco or Dallas, you name the city, can you believe that virtually every man in the streets of a big city during the day wore a suit, a tie, and a hat, and every woman wore a dress, and moreover, she wore white gloves? And take a look at what happened after the hippie revolution. Have you taken a look at how people walk down the streets in cities today? Have you looked at what they wear? Can you believe what they wear? And by the way, go anywhere in the world, it's the same. Go to Spain, tell me what you're going to see. You're going to see the same guys with, shorts and sneakers, no clothing. Paris, where is the Parisian woman these days? So it's a different world. It's not just San Francisco. You could say, it was better then, and it was more beautiful then, but it was a different universe. Remember, they used to say you can tell a man by his hat. That was an old French saying. So a businessman wore a hat. Every man went to a haberdasher. They had to have a hat. My father had one. He wouldn't be caught dead in the street without a hat. And I don't mean a baseball cap on backwards. He didn't wear a MAGA cap, okay? Let's be very clear. He wore a hat, a beautiful hat. Wore clothing, wore a suit. Even a small businessman like him, he went to work looking presentable. Otherwise, you would have thought of as a bum. Then there were other hats, like a longshoreman's hat. That means you worked on a shore, a garbage man's hat, a milkman's hat. Remember the song, I was thinking about this morning on my bicycle. Robert, see if you can find the song, The Milkman Serenade. And while you're looking for it, could you play Syncopated Clock? My mind is like all over the map today. I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to relax the audience. This country has been through another trauma. It's been hell this week. I remember I used to watch the nightly news. Even as a kid, I was a news fanatic. I didn't know it at the time because I didn't pay attention to what I wasn't self-conscious. In other words, I didn't say, oh, I'm a news nut. I watched the news every night on my own. I was home alone a lot. 5 o'clock, I watched the 5 o'clock news. And it usually started with the syncopated clock, and it relaxed me. Even the news was presented in a more relaxing manner. Like the newsman was a relaxing guy. Like, even though he turned out to be a Bolshevik, okay. I didn't know Walter Krankenhaus was a Bolshevik, but he was a kind, like, uncle type with the mustache. And, you know, he made it feel like the world was okay. So I'd watch the news, and that's the way it is. That kind of guy. Or Brinkley, and that's the way it is. And everything felt good. The world was in the right place. Things were okay. Even though, let's say, there was a war raging in Korea, and people were getting their legs shot off, and their stomach opened up, and it didn't bother you that much because they didn't make it that dramatically attached to you sitting there eating a steak and a potato job over a tray watching the nightly news. What I'm saying to you is maybe the media, because it's in such competition with itself to be more violent than the next one, they have to keep digging down and down and down into more violence, more violence, more violence, more sex, more sex, more sex. And it's driven the people insane, you know. I mean, it's a comment. It's not going to change just because Michael Savage, said it, you know. It's just like you're not going to stop eating lasagna or ravioli even though you know it's bad for you. You know what I'm saying? It tastes good, so you're going to eat it. The violence feels good, so you're going to watch it. Right? Or wrong? That's the way it is. What now? What do you want to talk about? Trump comment. Okay, let's do it. Charles on line 5. I got to get some of these calls on what the Trump comment was. That's what I'm interested in. No, I don't want to go Trump comment. Maybe something else? I don't know. In a different direction. I got callers all over the map. I was waiting for lunch to arrive in the studio, but it's already too late in the show to even eat. Oh, he's here now with the lunch. No, you could save it because I'll tell you, Ryan, I just read about Harvey Weinstein showering and wanting a woman to take a shower with him and give her a massage. I'm sorry, I can't eat for the rest of the weekend. Even at the even at the Italian restaurant, at the Columbus Day Parade, I think I'm going to stick to a cup of coffee and a sandwich. I can't eat now. Just the thought of it. What do women have to put up with to make it in Hollywood? I can't imagine. What if I were just a beautiful woman and stupid instead of an ugly man with a good brain? I mean, what would my life... It's not, I know you're saying, oh, how dare you say that if you're beautiful, you're stupid, and if you're... I'm not saying that, but what if you're just a dumb woman? I said, if you are just a dumb woman, I didn't say all women who are beautiful are dumb. Don't get mad at me if you're a beautiful woman who's smart, please. What if you're not that smart, but you're great looking and very sexy? And you go to, like, L.A. and you think you're going to make it. How do you think you're going to get ahead? Or if you're a young guy, how do you think you get ahead in Hollywood? Do you think it's based on your calm demeanor and your brains? You know what you're going to have to do to make it in those communities. You know who runs it. You know it's all run by Caligulas. Every last one of them is a Caligula, with very rare exception. Oh, they have the stage wife. I get it. They have the stage wife, you know, but behind the scenes, it's as dirty as it's ever been. Ask anybody who's there. And how do they dry them out after they've destroyed their innocence? How? After they get them on drugs and they sex them oversex them and drive them crazy and use them up like filth? What do? They send them out to the desert, to Palm Springs, to dry out. I'm running late. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Hey, I got to tell you one thing before we get back to the news, which is about sleep. You know, I talk about it, but I've been sleeping on this great Casper mattress for a while. And I tell you, I would pick it over every other mattress I ever had. It really does help me get the best night's sleep, period. Once you try Casper, you're going to love it as much as I love mine. Switching to Casper is a no-brainer. It's a higher quality mattress at a more affordable price. I am sleeping cool and comfortable each and every night thanks to Casper's 2 high-tech foams, much better than the old overpriced mattress that, we all used to have. Casper ships right to your door for free in a very small, how they get that little box into your house, right? And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up and give every dime back. From its breakthrough design and superior quality to its packaging to letting you try it for 100 nights in your own house, you heard me. It's no wonder Casper was named one of Fast Company's 50 most innovative brands of 2017. Sleeping on a mattress in your house is the best way to try it. Why don't you put Casper to the test in your own home for 100 nights, risk-free? You heard me. All you got to do is go to Casper.com and use code SAVAGE for $50 towards the purchase of this mattress. That's Casper.com, code SAVAGE, and you're going to get $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. Casper.com, terms and conditions apply. We are talking about what Trump meant when he alluded to a calm before the storm after meeting with the generals. Phil on WSBA has hit the gong. I think he knows the answer. Phil, line 3, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Elijah. My topic is ISIS, and where are they? And I believe they're in Niger. One of the most unreported stories was 3 of our special forces taken out there the other day. And I think we know where they are, and we know we can go in there and trump them.
So do you think that Trump and the generals were meeting about the loss of these 3 special forces ops in Niger, and that's what he was referring to?
Yeah, I hope so, but I think that's what it is, yes. Because we know ISIS is there, and we know where in Niger they...
Well, the cancer has to be stopped before it spreads in Africa. There's no question about it. You don't want to see the whole continent go radical Islam.
That's true.
All right, thanks. So that's a pretty good guess. I didn't think of that at all, frankly. I didn't think of that in any way. Did I think that he was alluding to that? WSBA. Bill, line 7, what do you guess? What do you guess Trump meant when he said, you'll find out?
Who is the rocket man over there in North Korea? Because if you think about it, he's reactive. And anytime Trump does something or says something, he always prompts a reaction out of them. So I think Trump knows how to push his buttons. So I'm thinking he's going to say something because he knows for him to do anything, China's not going to do anything unless Korea does something first. If we do something first, then we're going to hear China start crying. So I think Trump's like baiting him just to do something silly, something stupid, so he can say to the world, hey, I told you so. Now I have everything.
Well, maybe Trump is trying to call out the bully of North Korea to make a stupid error, which will then justify destroying him.
Exactly.
In plain English. This guy's been threatening us long enough. He's threatening Japan. I mean, we're not in Japan. They suffered a nuclear attack. They lost 100,000 people. They've suffered for 70-odd years the results of 2 atomic bombs. The Japanese are totally crazy over these threats. You don't see much of this in the American media. I love the ultra-sensitive liberal newspapers. When have you last showed you about the fascism of the European Central Government in cahoots with the Spanish government, which are acting absolutely like the jackbooted thugs that they are? Why are the newspapers in America not talking about fascism, which has reared its ugly head in Europe as they destroy the Catalonians everywhere they can?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Warning, the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
With a little humor, a little offhanded this and that, because this is such a sad week in American history. It is this generation's 9/11, make no mistake about it, and we still have no answers. The government is not doing us a service by remaining mum. I got to tell you, all they're doing is making people go with wild guesses. What's really very disturbing of this whole thing is not only the deaths and the injuries, but this lunatic Paddock's car was found in the hotel parking lot, the garage of the hotel, and it contained 90 pounds of tannerite and 2 suitcases filled with hundreds of rounds of ammunition. 90 pounds of tannerite. Police are suspecting that the tannerite, which is used in target practice to emit a small smoke when the target is hit, was to make the car explode if fired upon. It's insanity. 90 pounds of tannerite. Now, there is a claim by ISIS that Paddock had converted to Islam and carried out the attack on the terror group's behalf. However, there's no proof of that yet, and people are buzzing about that. We know he booked rooms in other hotels or other venues. There are too many unanswered questions, and the longer the federal government refuses to even hold a press conference, the more that rumors will swirl. But I don't really want to talk much more about that at this particular time. We will have to wait and see. More interesting to all of us is Trump's cryptic saying about the calm before the storm. You'll find out, and we're talking about what he might have meant by that. Also is the storm of Harvey Weinstein. The interesting part of that story, and it's really quite telling, is that some very, very, quote, prominent leftist politicians like Charles Schumer, Gillibrand, actually are giving back donations to Weinstein. Can you believe this? I mean, think about how disloyal they are to this man. Let's say he's innocent. Let's say he's not innocent. He's only been accused of these crimes. And yet these prominent Democrats have already abandoned him. Doesn't that tell you something about their lack of character and what sellouts they really are? And I'm not saying it's limited to liberals. Don't get me wrong. The same thing would have happened on the conservative side. But politicians in general are known to have no, I don't know how to put it, no character. Let's put it to you that way, a word that's never used anymore. What about the loud silence coming out of the media? How come the big mouth knishes on television at night who don't stop bashing Trump, who don't stop bashing the flag, who don't stop bashing Republicans, who don't stop bashing the NRA? How come these big mouth knishes on television, like Jimmy Schissel? How come Jimmy Schissel hasn't said one joke about Harvey the Jerk? Where's Jimmy Schissel, the big mouth? He suddenly dummied up? Or the other Hollywood big mouths on the left? All the other Schissels out there that you can use for a you-know-what? All right, that's another topic that's worth talking about. Meanwhile, there's a civil war growing in Spain, simply because people want to have independence of their regions in Spain in this particular instance. And when you see the central government of Spain acting like the jackbooted thugs that have been known to be fascists in the past being ignored, and that the separatists are facing sedition probes, not only by the Spanish central government, but by the EU. You should know all you need to know about the emerging Sovietization of Europe. And yet there's not one word from those in the fake news business about what this actually means. Let's take some callers. Tom on WABC line 1. Topic, please.
I'm talking about the shooter in Las Vegas and equating him with Harvey Weinstein, this power that people have and this accumulation of wealth. I think it's like a drug. It makes people crazy.
Wait. What does the shooter have to do with Harvey Weinstein? There's no connection. I mean, that's a crazy jump.
No, I'm not. I think it's the power, the wealth that these people have, that they don't know what to do with themselves. I think, like Michael Jackson and all that, Elliot Spitzer, they have this wealth and power, and they do great things.
All right, so they think that they're untouchable. They think that their wealth can protect them forever. Is that it?
Yes, and I believe.
Well, you think it's limited? You think it's limited to American moguls? You look at ancient China. Look at ancient China, or look at the ancient Egyptian pharaohs. For God's sakes, they made people who were alive jump into the tomb with them and be buried alive with them. You talk about power madness.
Caligulas. You mentioned the word name Caligula. These people are Caligulas of our time. Adolf Hitler, Kim Jong-il.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to compare the Hollywood moguls to them. They are power mad, but they in the worlds in which they live, and the fact that they control a good portion of what America thinks and sees, they have unlimited power. And then suddenly, I don't understand this part of it, why the left is eating its own. I do not understand why the New York Times would have come after Weinstein. I don't understand it. This part of it doesn't make any sense to me. He's a member of that left-wing cabal in good standing. Why they went after him, I will never know. I can't figure it out. And I don't think we can even guess on that one. Late-night hosts have nothing to say about the Weinstein allegations. Not one word. All the big shissels out there are suddenly deaf, dumb, and blind. There's some late-night hosts. When did they become politicians? How do we go from Johnny Carson to these... Well, I don't have a word for it other than Jimmy Schissel. Jimmy Schissel represents to me the vacuity of the late-night comedians who have suddenly become politicians, and bad ones at that. And let's leave it at that. WABC, John, topic, please. What's on your mind?
Yeah, it's about Weinstein with the gratuitous violence. I agree with you, but I'm so afraid of censorship because all these giant corporations, Facebook, everything else, that censorship is something that we really have to watch out for.
Yes, that's always a worrisome question of the First Amendment. I live by the First Amendment, and I certainly don't want censorship of my show. But I will tell you this. I've been on the radio for 23 years this March, God willing. I have never, ever used a filthy word on this radio show. Not only would I don't. But I'd lose my job. Why is it that Hollywood's allowed to use curse? Every other word out of the mouth of every other star or starlet is an F word. Have you seen the latest movies?
I've seen the latest.
All these anti-smoking people are smoking in the movies. All these anti-gun people are shooting each other in the movies. So hypocrisy reigns. But what do you mean you can't tell them not to say that? You can't tell them not to use foul language? What do you mean? What, it has to say a PG-13 is enough? No, I'm sorry. If they're not willing to self-censor as I do, then someone has to step in from outside and censor them. They're not God Almighty. They have an obligation to the nation and the nation's social fabric, and they're not living up to it.
Yes, but if you control yourself and your children, or you're able to censor for your children, then that's it. I mean, if you don't like it, then don't go see it. All
right, that's another way to look at it. So they should be able to show a snuff flick, in other words, and then you have the opportunity not to watch them killing someone on screen?
That's a horrible thing. No, I would never say that.
Well, all right, so there is already censorship. They don't show that yet. How come they haven't gone there? But give it a little time yet. Let's keep it to ourselves. Let's let Hollywood think about it.
Murder's a crime. Murder's against the law. That's what snuffing is.
Well, I'm talking about a little worse than that. And some of the films that are being produced in Hollywood verge on pornographic XXX snuff films, and yet they're shown in theaters or shown on television. You turn on it. I sometimes go to L.A. I have a house down there. I don't go there often enough. And, of course, TV is different, believe it or not, in some cities than it is in others. Although today it's got a sort of like standard everywhere. If I'm on board at night, like 11, 12 o'clock, and I turn the television on, I've never seen anything like this. The level of overt pornography that is being shown on television today, do you think that is not affecting our children? But let's go to the iPhone. Do you think a little kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, who is sending naked pictures of him or herself to another kid, do you think that is not destroying the soul of those children? So you say, well, there shouldn't be censorship. Well, what should there be? You're telling me that the children should be able to send graphic pictures of themselves to another child? You're telling me that child will ever be able to have a normal human relationship? Will ever be able to get married and have children? Absolutely impossible for that child ever to live with another person. It won't happen. So what is the answer to this? Censorship. Think about it and give me a call when I return.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. So that's a nice, quiet, calm, soothing movie, Sin City, with the man of peace, Mickey Rourke, beating up police as they fire their weapons trying to kill him. He beats up cops escaping and talks about how badly he's going to kill the person who killed his friend Goldie. This is what passes for progressivism in Hollywood today. And yet it's strange. They are loved by very powerful people. Back in 2013, Mrs. Obama, then First Lady, praised Harvey Weinstein as a wonderful human being. In fact, she liked Harvey so much that she sent her lovely daughter, Malia, to work for Harvey as an intern. So here's clip 4. She doesn't have the same opinion of the violence in the movies that we do. Listen to this one.
I want to start by thanking Harvey Weinstein for organizing this amazing day. Harvey. This is possible because of Harvey. He is a wonderful human being, a good friend, and just a powerhouse.
That he is. That he is. And these are only allegations. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's stop rushing to judgment. There's absolutely no proof that what these young ladies have said about him is true at all. The showers, the massage, they could be making the whole thing up. You know that Lisa Bloom is certainly one of the most, let us say, austere characters in the history of the legal profession. You know she's represented other poor victims of sexual harassment in the past, so she would never take on a case of a man who was accused of a thing like this if he were really guilty. She knows he's innocent because Lisa Bloom is certainly to be trusted more than Mother Teresa. That's a given. You can see by her track record, that that's true. All right, we made our point. We can move on. So what are we going to do about this stuff? Well, censorship would be very good. Censor the filth coming out of Hollywood. I've often said over and over again, the sewer pipe of Hollywood is destroying the world. You're telling me it's not a sewer pipe? So you say, well, we don't want censorship. You could just not go to the movies. No, that's not good enough. Because, it's like medication or drugs. That when a person starts taking drugs, they have to take more and more and more to get the same high they got from the first dose. That's a well-known fact. It's the same with violence or sex, explicit sexuality in movies or in pornography. In the beginning, what satisfies an audience and gets them to go, wow, did you see what Weinstein produced? Oh, my God, that was so violent, great. Okay, then the next one has to be more violent. So where does this end unless there is censorship? The marketplace is not enough of a censor when it comes to these things. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. It's as simple as that. So if you want to talk about gun control, start talking about movie control. Then start talking about medication control. Then start talking about other controls. So, where does it end? It ends where it begins. Nowhere. Nothing's going to happen. The lobbyists are too strong. Now, what is Trump's statement, the calm before the storm, mean? We had a caller in the last hour saying he's alluded. This was right after not only Vegas, but 3 special forces troops were massacred this week in Niger, in Africa. And he thinks that there's going to be a powerful act, maybe over the weekend, maybe tonight, somewhere in Africa. That's what a caller said. How do we know, right? How do we know? We don't know. Do you think violence in Hollywood should be curtailed by the government? Do you think there should be a board that oversees violence and explicit sexuality in film and other productions? There used to be. Well, we were living in a bad world then when your mother could walk to the corner? You're telling me it was a worse world when your mother was safe enough to walk to a corner? Now with the violence in the movies, she cannot even go out of her house now alone without a bodyguard. WDRC, what do you think? Line 6, what do you say? What do you know? Peter, what's on your mind?
Back in the 1960s, my mother could sleep on the second floor, screened-in porch, with the downstairs door open and nothing to worry about.
All right, so what are we going to do about it now? I mean, how many years later now? 60 years later? What are we going to do about it?
60 years later, Harvey Weinstein is still a schmuck. Hollywood is like a sewer. What you put into it is what you get out of it.
So what do you do for entertainment, Peter? What do you actually watch?
Dr. Savage, I watch old movies. I'm a postal employee.
Current or are you retired or current?
I'm not. I'm current still. I'm thinking.
So you just simply, and you're a Vietnam vet. God bless you. You simply watch old movies. You won't watch any of the current stuff.
Nothing but garbage. Well,
I call it the sewer pipe of Hollywood. That's all. What more do we need to know? So you could say, well, you have the option of not watching it. You can watch Doris Day movies, Cary Grant, Alfred Hitchcock Presents. You can watch Leave It to Beaver. You can get the reruns. You can watch Hopalong Cassidy if it makes you feel good. You have options. You don't have to watch Harvey's productions. Well, that's not enough. I'm sorry. There's an awful lot of impressionable minds who are being really, really, really screwed up from the violence of Hollywood.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282.
It's a great day to be alive. I got to tell you, you see a tragedy like this over the week of what we just lived through, all of us. And you got to say, I mean, where's it coming from next? We don't know who did it still. And the government either knows and isn't telling us or doesn't know anything. Maybe they know nothing. Maybe there is no cover-up. Maybe no one knows. I can do the two Harveys. That's always fun. That's a great topic today. Because Hurricane Harvey not too long ago hit Houston while Hurricane Weinstein was hitting on women. So that might be a topic, the two Harveys. But I don't know. We've already milked that. Everyone's making fun of poor Harvey. I mean, let's face it. What he allegedly did was so utterly unusual for Hollywood that it leaves me speechless. I mean, if what they allege is true, that he hit on young starlets who wanted to be in movies, I can't believe that actually would have happened, especially a guy as handsome as him, a guy with his charisma and beauty and such great skin. I don't understand how people can be shocked by this, but if you want to talk about that, don't call my show. What's more interesting to me is that this guy made the most vile movies the world has ever seen. Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Sin City. Every other scene is slashing, burning, shooting, hitting, bashing. And then he's the biggest liberal on the planet, going so far as to have been praised by Michelle Obama in 2013, where she called him a wonderful human being. Now, maybe it is possible to be a wonderful human being and produce vile movies that turn people into maniacs. It is certainly possible. I'm sure Michelle Obama knew him in a different way than we do. I'm sure Michelle Obama knew him as the soft, cuddly guy from Flushing, New York, that most of us forgot Harvey Weinstein really is in the deep insides of his being. But she praised him as being a wonderful human being. And maybe she knows something we don't know, because after all, she did have her daughter Malia work for Harvey Weinstein as an intern. You forgot that already? Not one late-night joke last night, by the way, about Weinstein. Isn't that odd? All the smart Alex, all the Knishes on television, all the Jimmy Snivels, Jimmy Snivel. What's his name, Jimmy Snivel? Hey, I gave him a nickname, Jimmy Snivel. That's a good one, Gong. Yeah, Jimmy Snivel, who can't shut his mouth for 2 minutes without bashing Trump, has nothing to say about a man accused of this kind of stuff. What do you have to say about Bill Cosby and Bill O'Reilly? Let's ask you that question. Don't answer me because I'm not interested. I'm reluctant to play the Harvey Weinstein violent movie, but let's play the Harvey Weinstein Pulp Fiction where they shoot Marvin in the face, just to show you the kind of nice, sweet movies that this kind, sweet human being has made over the years, and you'll understand the hilarity of all of the homilies that are coming out of the mouths of all the big libs who attack a conservative for as much as sneezing. Here's clip, Pulp Fiction, shot Marvin in the face, John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, two superb liberal human beings. Let's hear it.
Marvin, what do you make of all this?
Man, I don't even have an opinion.
Well, you gotta have an opinion. I mean, do you think that God came down from heaven and stopped us?
Oh, what's happening? Oh, man.
Oh, man, I shot Marvin in the face.
Why the did you do that?
Well, I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident.
Hey,
oh, man, I seen some crazy in my time, but this...
Chill out, man. I told you it was an accident. You went over a bump or something.
Hey, the car ain't hit no bump.
Hey, look, man, I didn't mean to shoot the gun went off. I don't know why.
Well, look at this mess, man. We're on a city street in broad daylight here.
Believe it, man.
Well, believe it now, mother. You gotta get this car off the road. You know, cops tend to notice if you're driving a car. Just
take it to a friendly place, that's all.
This is the Valley, Vincent. Marcellus ain't got no friendly places in the Valley.
Town, man. I want to start by thanking Harvey Weinstein for organizing this amazing day.
Thank you, Mrs. Obama. I'm sure he is a wonderful human being behind the scenes, and he's done so much for the mind of America and the world. That's the important thing to know, is that the sewer pipe of Hollywood, as I have affectionately referred to it, which has made people richer than kings of past, the sewer pipe of Hollywood has made people from the gutters of Flushing, New York, richer than most kings, and they have poisoned the mind of most of the world with the kind of imagery that is put out there, gun violence, knife violence, hitting people with axes. And when they're off the screen, every one of their causes is another one of these saccharine, like charities. What can I say to you? But maybe Mrs. Obama didn't see that side of him. Maybe she never watched Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill or Sin City. And it could be she only saw the gentle side of Harvey Weinstein. You know, there are several different sides to men of that magnitude. In fact, She probably so much believes in what she said about him being a wonderful human being that she sent her lovely daughter Malia to work for him as an assistant. So we have to assume that Mrs. Obama was sincere when she said that Harvey Weinstein was a wonderful human being. There's no reason to doubt her on this. All right, that's all. Then there's another subtext of the Weinstein scandal story that the New York Times is pushing. Weinstein backing his feminist attorney's new docuseries. Now, here's something really ironic. Lisa Bloom, in my opinion, is one of the worst people in the history of the human race. My estimation. I think she's one of the worst people I've ever seen walk on two legs. That's what I think of her as an attorney. Now, she's represented dozens of women who've accused men, rightly, wrongly, truthfully, or untruthfully, of sexual harassment. Bill O'Reilly was attacked by her. Donald Trump was attacked by her. It's interesting to me that no liberals ever attacked by women were attacked by her. But now Lisa Bloom has turned her attention to debunking the women who are accusing Harvey Weinstein of sexual harassment. And this creature with a law degree is now representing Harvey Weinstein. But here's the rub. Are you ready? She's doing a series of movies, a docuseries on her wonderful work and her contributions to humanity, being produced by Harvey Weinstein. You talk about a closed shop. Now, Lisa Bloom is the daughter of feminist attorney Gloria Allred, another prize example of the legal profession and of honesty in the law. As you know, Gloria Allred is above any suspicion as to motivation, and she only represents honest women who accuse evil men, as you well know. And so, mother and daughter, shall we say the seltzer bottle doesn't fall far from the truck. The phone number is 855-407-282. Lisa Bloom sent Law News a statement. As a women's rights advocate, I've been blunt with Harvey and he's listened. Okay, I can't even read this. Oh, no, I got to read this. She said, I have found Harvey to be refreshingly candid. He has acknowledged mistakes he has made. He is reading books and going to therapy. Come on. Please, I just ate a salmon teriyaki. He is reading books and going to therapy. He's an old dinosaur learning new ways. He wants to reach out to any of the women who may have issues with him to talk to them in a respectful, peaceful way with me present, if that is acceptable. So that's what we're talking about in the Savage Nation, as well as, I suppose, any other topic that is plaguing us, because it's all interconnected in a crazy way today. If you're doing a pastiche of what's going on, this is a crazy time to be alive and in the news business. ISIS releases statement on Las Vegas shooting. ISIS triples down. Audio, Vegas survivor tells Savage she heard multiple shooters. I got more traffic on that than any other thing I've ever had on this show. NRA finally breaks silence, says bump-fire devices should be regulated more tightly. Is that related? Bump-fire device. Is that related to Harvey Weinstein's story or what's a bump-fire? Bump-fire? Is that related to sexual harassment? No. Oh, that's the gun story. What do you think Trump was referring to when he said, what is coming? Was that like a moment of confusion, a moment of mishigas, a moment of madness? Do you know what I'm even talking about? We'll get to the moment of the calm before the storm comment in a minute, because I'm going to ask you, what the heck was the president talking about? Listen to this. Is a bizarre one. It's a hard one to hear because the sound was not good, but we've augmented it with the greatest engineering known to radio history. Listen to 01.
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm. We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we'll have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
All right, so he gives a press conference with all of his military heads and their wives, and then he turns to the audience of reporters and says, you guys know what this represents, ? Pointing with his arms left, right to the military men. Porter says, tell us, sir. And Trump says, maybe it's the calm before the storm. We have the world's great military people. Reporter says, what storm, Mr. President? Trump says, you'll find out. What do you think Trump was referring to when he said, you'll find out? You know what I'm saying? What was he talking about here? What do you mean, you'll find out? So he made a display of the great military leaders that we have, and then he said, you'll find out about the calm before the storm. You can figure this one out, can't you? He's signaling something. What is he signaling on the heels of the Las Vegas slaughter? It is connected to that. which came on the heels of the North Korea threat to wipe us off the map, okay, which came on the heels of Iran this, which came on the heels of Syria that, which came on the heels of Russia there, you know what I'm saying? So what do you think Trump was saying when he said, what is coming? You'll find out. I mean, what, has he made a mistake? Or is he hinting, or he just has no ability to control his remarks? I have a lot that's on my mind and on my heart that I want to share with you, because I think that a lot of people are not so much grieving after Las Vegas as they are perplexed over the silence from the government after Las Vegas. Am I wrong about that? Now, let me backtrack for a minute. A lot of you know me and have come to love the show and trust my insights, my delivery. A lot of you think you know me and you hate me because you think you know my politics. Some of you never heard of me, but you're listening to me right now for the first time. Now, what does it matter what my politics are if my insights about current events make sense to you? So for one day, I'm going to ask all of you who are so on the edge with your viewpoints. I'm a liberal, so I think this way. I'm a conservative, so I think this way. And if anyone doesn't fit in this box, I reject them. Why don't you, for one day, try to listen to a voice on the radio on an issue that you can call about, or anyone else, and if my analysis makes sense to you, why don't you not prejudge me? That's what I'm trying to say. All right, maybe it's a little too much for talk radio. I get it. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. What do you think Trump was referring to about what is coming? No one knows. And we talk about gun control. We got to talk about movie control, maybe? Was that not allowed? How about movie control? How about Weinstein control? I mean, we don't want to... Don't you think there should be some control on violence in movies? Yes or no? Why does Hollywood attack Trump and accept violent movies? I love all of the big libs out there, and I don't have to name them. You know, everyone likes to name the enemy and this and that. It's unnecessary right now. We got to stop the name calling, for at least for a day. But the fact is that you know and I know that when you go to a violent movie, it doesn't really expunge you of violence. It actually provokes violence in you. You go watch a horror movie. I hate horror movies. I don't watch them. There's two genres I never watch: horror movies and science fiction movies, for reasons I don't have to discuss. But I have seen in passing almost snuff movies that are made in Hollywood, where young people are on vacation in Brazil and then walking in the woods, or in Moldavia, and they get captured and put into a torture chamber. And it gets so graphic that I believe the filmmakers are not only mentally ill, but I believe that films like that should be banned from production, because you got to understand, most people are sane out there, but not everyone is. And there are a lot of marginal people like Son of Sam. And when they hear a dog barking in the alleyway, they don't just hear a dog barking in the alleyway. They are triggered. You're telling me Weinstein's violent movies didn't trigger people? Can you prove that? Not any more than I can prove that they did trigger people. But common sense would dictate that violence and pornography from Hollywood must be curtailed. I can't take any more pain, and I cannot take any more speculation, and I cannot take any more murder, and I can't take any more Islamic terror, and I can't wake up one more day to another Islamic committing another murder. Yeah, I know we don't know if they did it. I get it. But there's enough of a track record related to radical Islam for me to say enough is enough and I can't take it anymore. How's that? You know, this country is in a state of total meltdown. We're in a state of moral, mental, and physical decline. You can blame anyone you want. I'm not here to blame liberals. I'm not going to blame the media. You can blame anybody you want. They can blame us. We can blame them. What is that going to do for us? Nothing. Let's stick to the facts. He wired $100,000 to the Philippines last week, which means that the maniac was planning this slaughter, correct? Let's be clear. Who got the money? The officials who know that he wired $100,000 to the Philippines last week to an account in his live-in girlfriend's home country in the Philippines? Did you know he gambled under her name? And yet the police said she had nothing to do with it. Look at this in the Business Insider. What we know about the Las Vegas shooter's girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley. Already they know she has nothing to do with it. More details have emerged about Mary Lou Danley, the girlfriend of the man who opened fire on concert goers at Las Vegas Lights on there. Authorities said the gunman, Stephen Paddock, used identification of Danley's at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, prompting authorities to track her down. But as of Monday night, the innocent girl, Danley, was no longer being sought out as a person of interest because they said she was in the Philippines at the time of the shooting. So, what does that mean? What do you mean she was in the Philippines? So what does that mean? She's free now? How do you know she had nothing to do with this? An unidentified acquaintance of Danley who was contacted by the Reno Gazette-Journal said this, quote, she had nothing to do with this psycho. This poor lady, she was in the Philippines visiting family. Okay, how do we know she had nothing to do with this? She was his girlfriend. He used her ID. He sent her $100,000, so already she's free and clear? Danley is a citizen of Australia and still has family there. Danley calls herself a proud mom and grandma. Oh, here we go. And who lives life to the fullest on a Facebook page. Don't you just love it? It's a Pulitzer right in that. I'm sorry, I would start with her? I wouldn't already say she had nothing to do with it? Automatically, nothing? I'm afraid there's a cover-up in the works here. But there's something disturbing about another clip that I found, which came to us during the event from LVPD Radio, where they confirmed that there were 2 shooters at the time the SWAT team went in. I know you don't want to hear it. I know you want to sweep this under the rug. I know you want to move on, and you want to go back to business as usual. I'm sorry. We're not going back to business as usual. Does that make sense to you? Does the government not look like it's aiding and abetting in a cover-up? Yeah, something's wrong with the whole story. I don't have the answers, or I wouldn't be asking the questions. Well, my friends, it's a new day in America, and things have to change.
Savage.